This is going to be a fitting goodbye to an absolutely wonderful era that is going to end. This is the beautiful Jaguar F-Type and the V8. We're sitting here and everything the metropolitan Toronto has to offer, and the ride is absolutely sublime. I've got the car set in comfort setting. Everything's sort of chilled out. The dampers are really set nice and low. We've got some expansion joints and a couple of bumps here. And the car takes them all in their stride. It actually would make a great daily driver. And that burbling V8 underneath the hood never gets old. Just feel it go. Absolutely fantastic, this thing. When you need that supercharged V8 always delivers, and unfortunately the era is coming to an end. This beautiful silhouette will be gone. That name brand is going to take on a new life. That Growler is going to completely be a different car. It's going to be a different era. The silhouette's gone. That beautiful thundering V8 is going to be no more. And we're going to miss what has been the warhorse and the backbone of Jaguar. What I love, one of the things I actually really love about this is if you look at the dashboard and the waterfall up the front here, is that it was in its time and in its era, it harkened back to the old E-Type, the old Jags of yore, we'll call it that way. But it was very driver centric. This little bar here was for the passenger to hold on because the car had the handling capabilities. Everything cocoons you, but it doesn't constrict you. It cocoons but doesn't constrict. So I've got the room. I'm 5'11", fairly, large individual, and I can actually very comfortably touch everything. I don't feel compromised. I love these little switches up the front here that you can actually control all your dials. And of course Jaguar and the innovativeness, especially with the door handles and these switches, they're actually dual purpose switches. So if I push the switch in, I can actually turn that to adjust the heat on my seat. And if I push the seat out, the switch in, the same switch, I can actually adjust the temperature of my car, my cabin. And of course, cabin this size, you can have left or right, which is kind of an oxymoron, but whatever. You've got left and right in here. It's a very small cabin. Yeah. But just that so you're happy, you can adjust your own temperature. And then your seat controls are right up top here, so getting to them is very easy, and very well placed. Yeah. Nice. And we both get memory seats. Yeah. So it remembers exactly what position you're in at any time. 3 different passengers. And here we are driving on Steeles Avenue, which is probably one of the worst when it comes to construction and potholes. How do you think the ride is? It's smooth. It's great. Now, easy. We're driving along. Big thundering V8 in the front. Doesn't intrude. Very smooth. As a daily driver, this car is fine. Yeah. It's only when you ask it to wake up, will it wake up? Yeah. It can definitely be your weekend fun car and your get to work on Monday to Friday. So the way I would look at this car is, yes, absolutely a great daily driver, but hey, I want to head up to Montreal for the weekend. Hop in there, bags in the back, significant other in the front here, or a really good friend, whatever the case may be, and you've blasted all the way down to Montreal. Great restaurants, great nightlife. Spend the night, hop back in, drive all the way back down to Toronto. Very, very quiet, very calm, an excellent place to be. And that's the beauty of these cars. That was actually the whole concept of the Grand Tourer, was these cars were built for European roads and for European cities, where they would sit back and get up in the morning in the UK and say, we're going to have dinner in the south of France today. Get in the car, there we go, down to the south of France. Out to France. South of France, not even just France, just the French Riviera. Let's go, what are we doing here? So that gave birth to the E-Type, gave birth to the original 6 Series BMW, the Mercedes-Benz CLK, and that class of vehicle. And this is where this car has lived. Now, a lot of people look at this car and they say, well, why wouldn't I buy a 911? Great car. 911s are fantastic. They've spent 50 years defying the laws of physics. But there's something to be said about having a big, burbling, thunderous V8 up at the front, the noise in the back, and 2 people in the middle. It's fantastic. The 911, great as it is, it's machine gun with buttons. It is a very driver-centric car. You have to really concentrate when you're in the 911 to make it go fast and go well. Whilst this car, I don't have to do all that. I can drive along on a daily basis quite comfortably. I'm not highly strung. And when I need it, I've got that performance. Will it be as sharp as a 911? Certainly not the GT models. The GT models, GT3, GT2, GTS are actually a lot more track honed or track specific. But then the compromise for that is the street driving or the street ride in a 911 is extremely harsh. It's kind of unforgiving, especially in Toronto. I mean, for California and some parts of Seattle and Vancouver would be all right, but Toronto, we get a lot of broken, busted up roads. And I think having something a little bit more compliant with a longer wheelbase will be slightly more comfortable. Mm-hmm. And these seats are absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, they're super comfortable.
Heated and ventilated.
I also just like the way that the dash looks. Like everything in here looks really nice. It's sleek, it looks good. It's not like you know what you said with like all the buttons.
Well, you got to remember, they've been building cars since 1935.
Yeah, let's talk about the history. Tell me more.
So it actually started out as the Swallow Company. They used to build sidecars that were attached to motorcycles back in the day.
Wait, that's how it started?
Yep, that's exactly it. Yep, that's
really?
So William Lyons was building sidecars to attach to motorcycles back in the day because you could only fit 2 people on a motorcycle, and now you could put possibly 3 or luggage on the side because you put a sidecar in there.
Yeah.
And then in 1935, Jaguar was born. And the way he actually shaped the vehicles, because they didn't have wind tunnels back then, and they didn't have fancy, computer-aided design, he literally would panel beat by hand the aluminium panels in sunset and at sunrise to see how the rays of the sun would actually affect the lines and the curves of the vehicle.
And like shadows and stuff.
And that is exactly how those cars were designed. They would have all the kids lined up on these walls of the property watching him panel beat these cars to create that perfect shape or the perfect silhouette. And when the E-Type came out, I remember that car was launched at the Geneva Motor Show, they actually had Enzo Ferrari looked at it and he stated that it was the most beautiful sports car that was ever built. And it's a very striking car for its time. That was available as a V12, which are now dead and gone. The V10s are dead and gone, and unfortunately now the V8's on the chopping block as well, unless you have these emission meeting V8s that have turbochargers and all kinds of other stuff attached to them to meet the emissions. This one, unfortunately, is part of the old school. Yes, this is your hammer. But what a fitting goodbye.
What a good goodbye.
But the good news is, you can get them before they're gone. Come in and see us at Coventry North Jaguar Land Rover and get one of these into your driveway before this era is completely gone. It's a wonderful, wonderful car.